All right. Good morning and welcome to the official launch press conference of the Cool and Smooth T20 2025 St. Kitts. In our presence, we have the Minister of Sports, Etal, the Honorable Samal Duggins, and I'm here as well as the tournament coordinator of the Cool and Smooth T20 to field questions thereafter. As we know, St. Kitts has just had its first female selected in the West Indies senior team, and she departs St. Kitts. And she departs St. Kitts this morning, something our media team obviously wouldn't have known at the time of scheduling of this event. But in respect of that, we want to ensure that we provide the updates that are necessary, field the questions, but also give everyone an opportunity to cover that landmark event. Without going much further, I will go to the Honorable Samal Duggins just to give us a word on the government's involvement and the government's support of this tournament, what it means to the Federation, and what we're hoping to achieve with this partnership.
Thank you. And thank you, Master Ceremony, Chair. I want to say good morning to all listening, all present, and everybody that's in tune to this press conference. Now, as I sit here this morning, I am extremely delighted because it has long been the position of the Ministry of Sports, the federal government of St. Kitts and Nevis, and myself personally, to build our sporting infrastructure and our sporting landscape from the ground up. It is no secret that St. Kitts and Nevis has tremendous talent. We have always had tremendous talent. What in some cases may have been lacking would have been the critical support and direction, maybe more so, to pursue that at the highest level and ensure that it is encouraged and developed to succeed at the levels globally that we imagine it could. We have endeavored to do that over the last 2.5 years. And I remember having a conversation with the team at Cool and Smooth about grassroots cricket in St. Kitts and Nevis and how much more we can do to develop grassroots cricket in St. Kitts and Nevis. And last year we saw the inaugural tournament being hosted here, where grassroots cricket really had a chance to shine. This year, we are here yet again, coming bigger and better, but most importantly, to ensure that grassroots cricket in St. Kitts and Nevis has a real platform. And over the last 2.5 years, we have really been going into all the elements of building from the ground up. And I usually like to say numbers don't lie. And so we've seen just last year, Michael Louis first, male from St. Kitts, to be selected to the West Indies senior men's team. Just behind that, we saw Jeremiah Louis being selected. This year, we now see Jazara Claxton as the first female to be selected to the senior female team. And again, numbers don't lie. In our 40-some-odd years of independence, none of this has ever been done. But in the last 2 years, we are seeing tremendous success within cricket in the Federation. But it speaks to ongoing efforts to develop cricket, but developing cricket sustainably and with purpose and passion. And Cool and Smooth Tournament is one element of doing that. We could also speak about the last 2 years. We almost every month we have had tournaments here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Regional, international, local. Almost every month last year. I think it was 9 or 10 out of 12 months last year. We had tournaments in St. Kitts and Nevis. And every month for this year so far, we've had a tournament here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is expected to continue all the way through for, if not the whole year, foreseeably all the way through till about October. But this is the government's commitment, building sustainably, reinforcing what we have, and developing in the areas that we may have been lacking. We know the challenges we've had with our venues, and that has been well ventilated because we have had to repair almost every major sporting complex in this country over the last 2.5 years. However, as a government, that is our responsibility and one we take and move on with pride and passion because we understand it has to be done and we are not making excuses for it. However, while we don't make excuses for it, we want to ensure that our passion to get it done must be met with public understanding as well, because it's difficult trying to do all of it in such a short time. And while we could talk about the political back and forth and the fact that it was not done in the last 7.5 years, the truth is that term has been judged already, and they have already made a determination on the performance of that government or that administration. We are now the government, and our performance is based on having it done. And while we do that, I ask the public to join in and support the successes that we are seeing and I assure you that we as an administration, we take this seriously, we are deeply committed, and we will do everything in our power to make sure that sports and the sporting platform of St. Kitts and Nevis is empowered to the highest level. So I take this time to congratulate Jazara Clarkson, who has been an outstanding athlete, track and field, football, and cricket. And she has really been putting St. Kitts and Nevis in a position where we all can be proud. And we will continue supporting Jazara and ensure that she gets the recognition like anyone else. Last year, we were able to honor the Louis brothers with a number of tokens of appreciation. And I assure you, Jazara will be honored with nothing less of the same enthusiasm. Now, as a part of that, I must also say that I do have to take leave shortly to ensure that I see her off as well, personally, as the Minister of Sports, to let her know that we are all proud of her and to show my own appreciation, personally and firsthand. But I commend the team at Cool and Smooth for the work that you have been doing in supporting grassroots cricket development in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we are now seeing some of the successes and the fruits of this labor. And I am indeed happy and honored to be the minister at this time and to be leading this charge. So give it up for Cool and Smooth for seeing the need and filling the gap. And to the media, I want to also say thank you for coming and covering these important initiatives, because you help to amplify what we do here. And I give you kudos. It's a difficult job, I know, but it is your job to help us and our job to inform the nation through you. And so thank you for being here. Thank all of you. And we have much to celebrate. But today, we celebrate both Jazara and the launch of a wonderful tournament for the second year in a row. Thank you all. Good morning.
I just want to say thanks to the Minister for those encouraging words. And as we know, he does have to take his leave, so I'm going to allow him just before we start the question and answer program.
Thank you. Yes.
As the Minister mentioned, members of the media, it's a very important and I know sometimes thankless job, trying to bring the news of everything that's happening to the public. What I want to create with this Cool and Smooth tournament and generally within the media community in St. Kitts as it relates to sport is something that's open, something that's honest, and platforms where we can communicate with each other so that not only the media is serving the events by giving it to the entire federation, but also where the events can serve the media in certain instances, right? So just ahead of the question and answer, I just wanted to put that out there. Obviously, because of the dynamics of this morning, not everyone is here, but hopefully you guys have some questions about the tournament or even what we're doing in general, that you would like to ask. So I just want to open the floor to you. Discussion that we're very open to having with the St. Kitts and Nevis, well, the St. Kitts Cricket Association and the Nevis Cricket Association for that matter, because seeing Jazara selected for the West Indies team, even for myself personally, it's very encouraging. And I just think that if we have talents like that, then it makes sense to put something together. Now, I know that the numbers may not exist in women's cricket as it does in men's cricket, but I do think that there are avenues where we could get them involved and so forth. And as for the overall build-out of the Cool and Smooth T20, there's a lot that we can do, right? And there's a lot that we want to do. We need continued support from the government, from the media, but also from the private sector. Right, in terms of sponsorships and partnerships that can assist us to do a bit more. So we want to do more T20 tournaments. Cool and Smooth Sports is also putting on the upcoming Leeward Islands T20, which is taking place in Antigua. So we do have that level of aspiration as well to play even more cricket. We would like to see a Cool and Smooth T20 played in Nevis, because then St. Kitts and Nevis players could have multiple tournaments a year. And we'd like to do a T10 tournament to our partners, Joe McCaribbean, which we actually tried last year, but due to numbers, it didn't necessarily work out. Right? So there's a lot of plans that we have and a lot of things that we'd like to execute, and there are discussions happening.
Okay. And also, can you just give some details of the tournament this year, like the number of teams, the amount of players, and who was even some of the players?
Yeah, so each team has about 20 players. That because last year we had 6 franchises that had 15 players each, and there were times where teams struggled to field a full team due to sometimes work commitment, ferry schedule. There's a lot of different areas where they can experience issues. We know how logistics are. So this year we made it we decided that we wanted to have about 20 players per team, and we had extreme interest from outside of the federation. So in the draft, we had quite a few players that have made their international debut and so forth that wanted to play. And one of the things that we did is, since the tournament started in Antigua, we wanted to include the young Antiguans and give them a chance. So we have 5 young Antiguans that were selected pre-draft by the 5 franchises to play in the tournament, and they will be landing today and joining up with their teams. So we think that was a good feature, something to have in play, and something that we want to replicate as well for the players from St. Kitts, for instance. So if we do Cool and Smooth T20 in Jamaica and a few other places where we're planning to take the tournament, then we would be looking to take players from St. Kitts that have had the experience in the tournament here and give them experience in, a slightly different condition and under different circumstances. So we're trying to build the ecosystem of Cool and Smooth T20 and make it something where all of the franchise leagues have a breeding ground, for lack of a better term.
What is the ultimate goal of this tournament, and what are you trying to achieve in the medium term to long term?
So the ultimate goal for the tournament is a continuous one, and it's development, right? And it's not only development in terms of the players, because I think it's very important to note the amount of people that are involved in putting together a cricket event or any sporting event, right? So even myself, I would have been a football player. I would have done majority of my work in cricket, in commercial, media, operations. And there's just so many avenues for people to get involved with the sport. There's so many people that love the sport, maybe can't play it as well as they would like to, or maybe are past their playing days, and would love to be involved in the sport. And I think the more often, as you heard the minister mention, constant tournaments being played in St. Kitts, I think the more people that are realizing that. And the co-tournament director, Dark Brown, who is from Nevis, is a masseuse for the West Indies, is a masseuse for the Leeward Islands and the West Indies team, and recently managed the Leeward Islands Thunder at the Breakout League in Trinidad. So already you can see he's stepping into different roles in cricket. And if we could get people, if we could get people realizing how many roles are available and how many different skills are utilized in cricket, because I mean you need accountants, you need business planners, you need event planners. So it's a holistic effort to boost the cricket economy, but also build capacity so that there's the ability to continuously host in the amount of cricket that the Federation is hosting, but at an even higher standard and higher level.
So you're seeing this tournament as a sort of a business enterprise in one sense. So the components with regards to attracting your income, your revenue from the public, getting them into the venue, how is that going? How are you addressing those issues?
Well, we found that over the week or so that we played the tournament last year, that there was a build-up of persons over time. And we would love to, be able to charge, put security at the gates and do a lot more in stadium. But we want to build the base first, right? So we haven't put a price tag on entering the stadium for any night as yet, because we want to build that base. So we want to start tomorrow and see what the weekend brings, how many people we can get into the ground, how many people we can engage. And really and truly, it's something good, in our opinion. We think that leaving it free just encourages people to be able to pass rather than make it a full-on commitment. And I'm sure as the years go by, we'll be able to do a bit more in terms of entertainment, in terms of promotions. We'll be able to bring more sponsors on board, and it'll be it'll be an event that you want to pay your money and you want to come and watch. But for now, we think it's important that through the media, we encourage more people to get involved, more people to come through the gate. And if we're able to do that, then we think that we're on the right track to building something sustainable.
Good morning, everyone. Troy Biff Mills from WinFM Sports 98.9, daily sportscaster, as well as host of a 2-hour sports program on the ball every Tuesday, 7 to 9. I start by congratulating Jazara, the first Kittitian, and I think as a Sandy Pointer, and Jazara herself being a Sandy Pointer, as we say, SP with the best be, I congratulate on all the persons from SP with the best be, that is Sandy Point. And I wish her and the team tremendous success, and of course being injury. I congratulate Cool and Smooth for the efforts we have in the tournament for the second consecutive year. How would you rate the various successes? How successful was the program last year? And you mentioned one of the challenges, one of you have challenged the number of teams and the ferry terminal. do you foresee any challenges this year compared to last year? And well, I had another question about expansions. You mentioned in terms of the countries, Jamaica. Are you thinking of having, say, the Cool and Smooth in St. Kitts in May and Jamaica in, for example, June? Or are you thinking of having it in St. Kitts in 2025 and then in Jamaica in 2026 only? What are the plans?
Should I just remind me of the first question? Sorry.
How successful it was?
Yes, okay.
And were there any other challenges which you may foresee for this year?
So I say that there's always room for improvement, right? And with the product last year, we had significant amount of challenges. However, what was important is that the team stayed strong and was able to remedy the challenges as we go along. And the team doesn't just mean the teams themselves or the event team. It means the broadcast production team. It means the media that was present. It means everyone that was involved in the entire process. And I think that was important, and what it gave us was a platform to launch off of. We now know what are some of the challenges that exist, because the thing is in sport management is challenges are sometimes unique, right? So sometimes you can prepare for challenges, but then sometimes the challenge comes with the venue, the country, a specific player, a specific team, and you have to out those fires as you go along. But from an operational standpoint, we think that we've addressed the challenges that we can address, and now it's for us to ensure that we're in a proper position to out those other fires that may pop up during the tournament.
Well, while my colleagues are thinking, I don't know if you'll mind in another question.
I think you had a second question.
Oh, yes.
In terms of the expansion.
The countries, the expansion.
Yes. So our idea for Cool and Smooth T20 is we would ideally like to see it in every country in the Caribbean, right? Because it's a local tournament that's done right, with quality. So it's not that we're closed off to running 2 tournaments concurrently, but the idea is we want to run each tournament independent of each other. So if it's 12 tournaments, it means a tournament every month in the year, right? So it gives us that opportunity now, because if it's 12 tournaments, then St. Kitts players may go to Jamaica, but we may take Antigua players to Dominica, right? So it gives us the opportunity to plan those things out long in advance and just ensure that we're doing it in a manner that's beneficial to all stakeholders.
My apologies, the first time I didn't identify myself. Glenn Bragg from SKN Newsline. Okay. One of the things that some persons don't know, right, is that there are things happening in the park, and a lot of people don't know it's happening. So I want you to take this opportunity to tell our viewers what is the Cool and Smooth competition, what's its structure, what should they expect, and invite them out to the event.
So the Cool and Smooth T20 is what we call the premier local cricket tournament, white ball cricket tournament in St. Kitts and Nevis. We've been running Cool and Smooth T20 for about 12 years now, with 10 of those years being firmly stationed in Antigua. Over the past few years, we have taken the opportunity to expand our reach in terms of sponsorship of other T10 and T20 tournaments going on around the region. And now we have taken up a mandate where we want to spread the product to every island in the West Indies. So the St. Kitts, with this being the second edition of the Cool and Smooth T20 in St. Kitts, we have 5 franchise teams. All of the matches will be played at the Warner Park Sports Complex. They will play 1 round of round robin, which will be followed by a semi-final and a final. The defending champions are the Molyneux Blue Runners, and they were led by Captain Jax Taylor to victory on the last occasion. So matches will be played at 3 and 7 on all of the match days, with the match days being May 15th, May 17th, May 18th, May 20th, May 22nd, and then May 24th and 25th. So the tournament concludes on May 25th at the Warner Park Sporting Complex, and we look forward to high-octane cricket. We have some of the best young players from around the region. Nathan Edward from Barbados, Zidane Clark from Barbados, Jonathan Van Lang from Guyana, Micah McKenzie, who was the top wicket taker in the recently concluded Breakout League, which was put on by Cricket West Indies and the CPL. And therefore, we're looking forward to a very exciting tournament. And the more support that we get from the listening and viewing public, the better the tournament will be, and the more opportunities we'll be able to create, not only for these cricketers, but for the administrators that are involved in cricket and even the media going forward. So we do encourage everyone to come out and support. We thank all of our sponsors, Palm Branch Media, the Department of Sport, the Department of Tourism. Personally, I want to thank the Honorable Samal Duggins, the Minister of Sport, because he has been very supportive. The St. Kitts Cricket Association, to President Dennis Brown, the Nevis Cricket Association, to President Carlisle Powell, have all been extremely supportive and eager to see this continue. So as long as the media sticks with us, we're able to get the news out there, and we start to get people interested, then we can add in some other aspects and ensure that Cool and Smooth T20 really and truly becomes a cornerstone for St. Kitts and Nevis cricket.
With games being played at 3 o'clock, could any consideration be given to the players going to particularly primary schools and having little discussions, mentorship as it were, with the primary school players and even high schools as well throughout St. Kitts and perhaps in Nevis? And secondly, for the Breakout League, I do congratulate Cricket West Indies and CPL. I thought it was an excellent move. And unfortunately, the Leeward Islands Thunder gave the championship to Trinidad and Tobago Legions. But nevertheless, I still congratulate them. They had a particular clause that I like about the leg break bowlers.
The wrist spinner.
Wrist spinners. Are you thinking about some clauses similar for this year, and if not this year, sometime in the future?
So, first question about the schools. I think that that's a great idea, Troy. And in planning the tournament, obviously there are a lot of considerations, but I think that if we can add some aspects like that into the tournament, these are the things that will make the tournament really stand out and really make a difference in terms of the impact on the community. So it's something that I'm going to look into. I know for sure any one of the overseas players coming would be willing to go into the schools, do whatever with students, even if it's a PE session. And considering how the tournament is being played with some off days, 3 off days in the week, that may be a possibility. Right? So I'll have a chat with some of the players and I'll see how we can coordinate something like that. The question about the wrist break bowler, I think that, and kudos to Cricket West Indies, through the Director of Cricket, Miles Bascom, and his team there in the office in Antigua for coming up with such an initiative to ensure that as a region we can start to pinpoint these wrist spinners who tend to be very effective, especially in the shorter formats of cricket. But I'm sure that even in leg cricket, in test cricket, some people would like to see a wrist spinner around the setup. But for this tournament, I think that, and knowing Miles a little bit, I think that would have been implemented on the back of a lot of research, a lot of time spent looking at the statistics for tournaments past, pitches that they've been playing on, and trying to determine exactly how we can go about unearthing these talents. And if we were to make a step like that here, I think it would have to be something similar, right? So I don't necessarily get into the technical aspects, but we do have a lot of analysts, and I know that Cricket West Indies recently did an analyst workshop even during that breakout league, So we do have a lot of analysts around who can be provided with the information and give feedback on things like that. But a short answer to the question of innovation in terms of the rules to make sure that we're finding the talent that we need, we're definitely open to it. And if Cricket West Indies decides that there's something that they would like to see at this level as well, all they would have to do is say the word, and we wouldn't hesitate to implement such.
You touched the female version, and the female cricket in the Leeward Islands particularly, it's still in its embryonic stages, I'll argue. Jamaica and Trinidad, they've been playing way ahead of us. So the performance of the Leeward Islands female, they must be commended highly, because we don't have solid female leagues within our countries because of the scarcity of the females. In terms of a female version of the Cool and Smooth, you alluded to that. But before we get there, could some consideration be given to perhaps females playing along in the male teams? Jazara Claxton, for example, when she started, she was the captain of the school team. She was the only female in the team at the Beach Island Primary School. So could some kind of consideration be given to that? Haley Matthews, I saw a clip of her playing in a male league, and she was really, as we say locally, ponging about those bowlers. So could some consideration be given that as a step towards an all-female Cool and Smooth T20 league?
Yeah, as
or
I
even
said,
T10.
As I said again, we're very open. And the other thing is we defer to professionals. So if from a technical standpoint, at any point in time, the SKCA or any other stakeholders within the cricket saw it fit or think that the talent exists, that they could do something like that in terms of put the females into the male team, then we would be open to it. I don't see why not. It can only help in most instances unless they're not ready.
You mentioned partnership, that is key by any standard. Could you give us a rough idea of the ballpark figure in terms of the budget to host this competition, and how much has it improved or increased over last year? If you're at liberty, of course.
Yes, it's an expensive tournament to run. I don't want to go into the actual figures, and while this is an open forum, it's not because I don't want to disclose necessarily, but I don't want the public to feel sorry for us at this point in time, right? Because it's not a money maker as yet, right? We're still at a point where we're spending out of pocket to ensure that the tournament can happen. But we do think that if we stay committed to the task at hand, and if we take it as seriously as if it was a money maker, that in years to come, it can become such, right? And really and truly, as I mentioned during the first question, my sole aim through administering these tournaments is development, right? But development from a holistic perspective in terms of not only on the field, but off the field, around the field, in the commentary boxes, wherever it is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I think that brings us to the end of today's press conference. I just want to say thanks to Palm Branch Media for administering the press conference on Cool and Smooth T20's behalf. I want to say a huge thanks to the persons behind the camera for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here with us and obviously capture this. And then to the media, I want to give an immense thanks not only for your presence, but for engaging me, for having thoughtful questions, and for what you will do even after this press conference by sharing it with the world. So everyone that's been viewing and everyone that will view, I'd like to say to you to have a good day and come out to the Cool and Smooth T20. I think it's hashtag come to Warner Park, so come to Warner Park.